Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone.
Yep,
Today we have a very exciting episode about governance, and we have this new exciting feature in Superhero, this voting app, that, by the way, has been developed by the Superhero team. But remember that Superhero is open source. You can all contribute with your ideas and with your code to save the future of a fairer internet.
Yes. Well, let's dive into today's topic. Governance is part of the very core of human being, from families or tribes to nations or the whole planet, and we have seen it evolving over time, but maybe not as fast as desired, and that is why we're here today. Today we're going to have a couple of very interesting discussions about governance. We are going to talk about governance related to its relationship with money, new economy models, with great speakers that have been working on that for a long time. And on the other hand, we are going to address the governance in-house with a live debate about æternity on-chain governance model. But first, Alex, you have some reminders, right?
Yes, for all of you that might have joined later, remember that interaction is welcome. Please raise your hand and you can come in the stage, putting your mic or your video on, also to drop questions in the chat. And at the same time, if you are not intended to be on stage, please keep your video and mic off so no noises go on the screen. Also remember that if you are logged with your chain name, you might get some tips and some love, some crypto love from Superhero for your interesting questions and comments. And also remember that we are live in YouTube and in Periscope. And the last kindly reminder, guys, open your eyes. Mainstream social platforms are like stealing our data and stealing the value from creators. So let's tip great content on Superhero and also get a curated list of content, because there is skin in the game. With publish something, it costs money. So there is interesting stuff there. So let's build together a fairer internet with no privacy intrusion, no one saying who can monetize or not, and with the value flowing directly from users to creators. Permissionless, censorship-resistant fashion, no KYC. This is like the cypherpunks social platform, but also for everyone. I mean, we're gonna share. You will find the links to download the extension, and also if you don't want to download the extension, we have a web wallet. You will find it in the chat, and participants will be tipped by us, like a sign of appreciation for joining us with their wisdom today. But you can also tip them, like, for example, if their Twitter profiles on any URL that they control, and they can put their chain names or AA addresses.
Exactly. So feel free to go, explore, try, test, look at all the features. It's something really revolutionary, and it is going to be shaped in the way that you as the users are going to shape it. So what you feel really matters, what you try really matters. So please go there and try it for yourself. So let's start with the first panel, Reinventing Money for a Reinvented World, for which we have pioneers in the development of alternative currency systems and also experts in decentralized governance. So please give a warm welcome to Franz, Josef, Allmeyer from Seeds, Gustavo, Segovia from Blockchain for Humanity, Alejandro Sewrjugin from Fee Economy, and Ricky Cordon from Haifa.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today and your wisdom with this topic. So let's make our starting point is like the clear relationship between the control of money and the control of governance and laws. Maybe not so clear for many people, that's why we are here. So for the starting question, I would like to show how easy it is to create an on-chain poll in Superhero. So I'm going to stamp the question, this starting question on the blockchain. That give me a moment. And please, you all in the audience, you can get into the vote and make your answer eternal. I think you are seeing in my screen like the Superhero voting interface. Are you? So I'm going to create a new poll. This poll is going to be called like the title of the panel. And here comes the question. Do you see it? Is the current political and economical system complete failure for humanity? And then we can put a link, a reference link, and I think this link, this guy knows a bit about this, so let's put this here. Then we add the option, yes or no. Now we can see how to end the poll. You just create the poll.
Yes, maybe we could welcome our panel, and the question is still there, right? So all of you with your cameras on, what would you say about Alex's question? Can you repeat the question, Alex?
Yes, please introduce yourself and your work in a tweet format, and then give your takes about if the political and economical system is a failure, complete failure for humanity.
Hello, Alex. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Mariana, for organizing the space here. Who am I in a tweet? Well, I'm a blockchain for good soul, very focused on governance topics since 2016, and this year working a lot on community currencies powered by blockchain projects. And my take about the failure of the whole system, actually, I don't care about that whole system. Yes, it is failed, but I'm not one that wants to fail to fight against that. I'm just down with promoting the building of our own systems and making our way just better.
A quick Twitter presentation. My name is Franz Allmeyer, and I am currently Liechtenstein. I'm a cultural evolutional catanist, and I specialize in regenerative development. And I am part of the Seeds community as a Seeds citizen, and working on decentralized governance and community currencies as well. And I also share the spirit of the previous panelists. It's all about not fighting the system. It's all about learning from the failures of the current system and being able to learn from them, to leave them behind, and allow us all to leverage our skills and transition into a completely new civilization.
Yeah, great thought. Ale, Rieki, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me, Alex?
Yes, welcome, Ale.
Welcome, thank you guys. Thank you, Mariana, Alex, for hosting us. So very shortly, who am I? I'm a hacktivist, so basically I study economics, but I've also been hacker since I was 15 years old, and I've been working in the last 6 or 7 years in order to have a plan B. So I really also connected to Gus, what Gus said about, creating another possibility, let's say. So when this system really failed and nobody really support it anymore, we have this plan B, right? So I've been working in different cryptocurrencies and basically in the concept of money, right? I think the big problem in the system is that we think that money is just appear for magic, right? So we trust in God or we trust in central banks, and the reality money has a totally different meaning. It has a previous value. So that's what I'm working on, and thank you for hosting me and discussing with all these folks.
Thank you for being here, Ale. So then what's the plan? It seems clear that the control of money have a direct influence in governance and law, and it seems that this is not working very, very good. What are your ideas? How do we fix this?
Yeah, I think that we need to start by taking awareness that money itself is a form of power. Okay, that we govern stuff with money, with that kind of manifested power. The markets themselves are a form of governance. Who has more money, Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, depending on what people wants to buy on, and I always like to stress that fact because more people think that governance is about voting, it's about making elections, it's about delegating the power on someone else, And as Mariana was saying, it's actually very more complex than that, because governance has been intrinsic in human nature since the human is human. And right now we have like possibilities to enable new form of governance thanks to technology. And I'm particularly super enthusiastic about the specific possibility that we have with create new form of money. Okay, I like to define money as an agreement within a community. Okay, closed or open, but money is nothing more than an agreement about people. No, and when we have communities that are willing to create their own money, well, the work is specifically on governing what kind of agreements are accepted by the people there and what agreements are not accepted. And also by defining, well, when we have conflicts in which part of the community wants to accept, others no, also like establishing the protocol some way to resolve conflicts, because governance at the end is just a way to avoid conflict or to resolve conflict. That's more or less my.
I think you mentioned a very important part that has a lot to do with this. That is like the definition of money. What's money in reality? It's a language, a convention, and I think both Franz and Ale are doing great work in redefining and educating people about what's money and how it should be used. One important thing that you have in common is that money should be created with actual value, not with debt. There is like the main, like maybe trade-off or fallacy that we are all in. So how are you fighting this money creation against debt?
Well, basically, Alex, is like what you said. I think when you ask why we get so much power concentrated, is because of that. If we create money as a debt, and then you have intermediaries like banks who decide who should get the money or who shouldn't, right? There is no human value behind. There is no a community behind. So when you create money in that way, you just give money to the structures or organizations that already has a lot of money, right? So that creates over time a big problem, and this concentration and this pyramid scheme, right? So the big pyramid scheme, the big Ponzi scheme is that money, right? The fiat money. So when we discussed here, like Gus said, that money is an agreement, and we, the people, give powers to money, but also I think we have also human purposes that not change over time. So money really represents those purposes that we unite together and we try to unleash those purposes, like education, like justice, like fighting climate change. So there are inherent values which money represent those, right? So we as a community give that certificate to people that help us to create that value for the community, right? And the way we do it is with education, like you said. We have ambassadors around the world. We have different projects. We think together. We integrate different disciplines in order to tackle a specific problem, right? When we devise a problem for concentrating power in a specific industries because of XYZ, then we think together and we try to create a new decentralized autonomous organization with a cryptocurrency behind it in order to pursue that. For example, Chikwai coin. Chikwai coin is a gender equality coin that we try to provide freedom, economical and financial freedom to women around the world.
Cool. So I guess I have been like following your work for the last time because we know each other like a while ago, and it really gets my attention how economic purpose, how like money should be like issued when there is a value provided for humanity and not like in advance like as a form of debt. And I think France with their work on seeds and the regenerative economy has a lot to do and say about this. So please explain us, France, a bit of the economic types and the economic underlyings of the seeds model, please. I think it's quite interesting, and both you and Ale will have something to talk about a lot, I guess.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for opening the space. Yeah, adding to what has been said, I think the value of money in any case is the value of trust. And currently, money is, at the fundamental thing, what shapes our planetary and human condition. And today's standard currency, as what we were saying, is centrally created with debt and interest attached to it, and then trickle down economics, where money should be trickling down to all levels of society. But in most cases, obviously, that doesn't happen, leaving us in a market failure of anthropocenic proportions, which we collectively face. So it's a survival imperative to flip this around. So what we have done is we've created a model that flips this system on its head, meaning that we've created a fully stable currency, stable to its own economy, in which we are algorithmically balancing the supply of currency to the demand of currency in the ecosystem. And in this model, there is no longer inflation or deflation. There is only the collective aggregate of our human efforts, which in the seeds economy we call the harvest. And the harvest is then distributed directly into the accounts of people and organizations who are contributing to the growth of the economy. That would be the equivalent of your central bank saying, Alex, wonderful, you've been a wonderful citizen, you've used this much euros or dollars or whatever currency you're using, and at the end of each cycle, you would receive a direct share from the new creation of money. So what this does in itself, it creates a cooperative economy in which every user is a direct shareholder and director of the evolution of this financial system. And this is precisely what we've been doing for the last 6 months since we launched our alpha. Been gathering all of the organizations around the planet who share this vision of a different civilization, one built on regenerative values, and we are providing them a share of this economy. And as they come along, we're also gaining value. And as I mentioned before, money is nothing else than trust. And when you consider that currently the governments themselves are eroding that last bit of trust towards this society, simply by uniting these communities together, we foresee that we have a mechanism that is, there's more community, there's more trust between and within communities all over the planet that don't even know each other than there is currently trust towards the government. So we really believe that this trust is even more valuable than gold and many other currencies out there. So by uniting people around giving them equal access and equal voice to a financial system, we have the power to leave the systems built on degeneration obsolete. So in general, outcompete them in their own game.
Beautiful thought. Yeah.
I think there's another aspect that is important. We have mentioned this word a lot, trust, right? Like trust being a great part in interaction in human evolution regarding exchanging things and for money. And in the old system, we kind of have to trust, the central banks, the organisms that make the rules, to say it in a simple way. So what about blockchain? This happening on blockchain is, in my opinion, I would like to hear your opinion on that, is like trust is no longer needed, because everything is public, decentralized, is there for everyone to see. So this breaks one of the most important barriers for regular people that maybe they are not crypto fanatics or that they don't understand it so to the detail, to onboard this, right? So I would like to know your views, Alejandro, maybe on that, or Gustavo. I would like to hear your voices on Gustavo. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I completely differ with that kind of a statement when people say that trust is no longer needed. One thing is that we're talking about trustless systems because they provide the trust with distributed systems and the cryptographical means. Okay, you need to trust less, let's say, in the technical infrastructure. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you don't trust in the currency. You don't trust in the value. Okay, when people acquire Bitcoin, they do that because they trust in the market value. They trust that other people will accept that as a mean of transaction, or they trust the price will go up because of the network effect, what so on. Okay, when we talk about currencies as such, I like to decompose currency systems into macro order systems. Okay, which are the first one is an accountability system, which is the book, the ledger, the Excel sheet, if you want to, and the other system is exactly the trust system. Okay, the agreements about people, the belief system of individuals, of collective, of the entire globe, if you want, that a currency has a value or so. Then it's up to currency designers. How do they plan actually to build the trust that they need to give to their currency so it has the value and it fulfills the purpose that it was created for. That is my view about trust. We will always need trust somehow.
I understand your point, and Alejandro, I would like to know your opinion on this.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with Gus, and also I would like to introduce other concept, which is basically you also trust on the purpose of the money, right? So you as a human being, you can participate maybe during the same day in 30 different communities where you trust that purpose is good for humanity or is a purpose that really motivates you. So you really trust on that system in order to fulfill that purpose, right? So I think also trust has a lot of different meanings, even though that we always think about technology and the trustless system, but I think trust is even more than that, and this is what really unites us as human beings, because social bonds, right? So I think we should also consider that money is a representation of that trust that the community puts together in order to fulfill a specific purpose, and those purposes also change over time, right? So we have certain purposes that probably like education, justice will go on forever, but then we have other purposes that will fulfill a specific objective for a specific community. So I think money is really the vehicle in order to have that innovation and that purpose to be completed, right? So I think that's also interesting to think about. Thank you.
Good. We have some questions. Thank you for your answer. We have some questions from the audience. Alex, you want to go ahead and pick some?
I was asking before, not only Gus, but Ale and Franz, what are your perceived challenges for people to adopt and understand community inclusive currencies? Because that's the main point. I mean, we can build wonderful systems, but if people doesn't grasp the importance and knows why are they important, our work won't be meaningful. So what do you think are the main challenges for people to understand the importance of this and rebalancing the world by rebalancing money?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's a challenge of consciousness, and it was already mentioned before by the other panelists. First, people need to currently understand what money does to them and to their society at large. If people become aware that how their banking system works, how money is created, then immediately you would have a revolution. But obviously, it's a very difficult challenge to educate as much people. So what we're doing is literally providing them with a tool that gives them value, and once having that tool in their hand, they start questioning whatever goes around it, and then are able to more realize what they can do together as communities. And by giving them that value that they currently don't have for the current system, we are stimulating that sort of community building and trust. And at the same time, going back to governance, we also have a way of intrinsic way of voting to what we call the seats double passport. So by simply giving them also a voice into this new financial system, they are recognizing that the current system doesn't give people neither value, neither voice. And therefore we're aiming to really transmute the problem of people being in a state of scarcity, in a mindset of scarcity, and transcending them into more of a mindset of this abundance, which is already intrinsic to our natural systems. So yeah, it's a thing of allowing people to really see the reality that's out there and go beyond the notions of limitations that have been fed into our culture for hundreds of years. Another challenge that we see is a technological challenge. We have a lot of people who don't have access to these technologies, but that's fortunately being resolved, where a lot of the world community now have access to mobile phones, so we can make these technologies as easy as downloading an app. So that's also a huge innovation in terms of what can be achieved. So it's a matter of plugging enough people, allowing them to start doing their exchanges as they would. And just by that, then you are already creating sufficient value to make a statement for the rest of the world to also follow, so that people then have a clear choice. Do I want to contribute to a degenerative system that is destroying people and planet, or you have then options and alternatives which are useful for regenerating the planet at large? And that's what we want to make as easy to do.
Well, there is this one that we have gone over the topic from Omar that says Harari says in one of his books that money is the most universal and most efficient system of mutual trust ever devised. So here we go again with the trust issue. It was an evolution for making, I'm scrolling, sorry. It was an evolution for making trade easier between people and somehow more fair. Are we somehow replacing this model for a new one, or it's just like a transition? It's a new evolution. Is it a step of the current system, or is it something completely disruptive, in your opinion?
I think it's a matter of we are so market oriented. We think that trade is the only definition for value, right? So we need to exchange things, and that's our whole life. And there are a lot of value that can be created without an exchange, right? And there is a phrase that says there are things that money cannot buy, right? And we need to understand that. So that pitch of consciousness that Franz was talking about is that we need to understand that those things that money cannot buy are the reasons why money exists, because we can issue money because we fulfill that, and that's not neither a product nor a service. When I educate for myself, but that's the value that I'm creating for myself and for the society. So that's really the reason why we should create a coin, a currency, because we educate. And if we think about that, this is not a joke, because you are not going to have a pension when you are 65. You will educate your whole life. You will be educating and learning the whole life. So I think that's the evolution of the system. We have the market, but we create a new sphere of value where we create or we generate money genesis, because we do all of that. So I think that's the key thing to understand.
You can also speak up by keeping content related to this topic on Superhero. But in the meanwhile, please, we are here. We have the luck of having Ale, Franz, and Gus. If you have any question, I think we still have time for one more.
What would you say, Franz?
To add on to what Alejandro was saying, it's I also see it as a sort of evolution or a renaissance. It's about realizing what was always there, and I think that the true promise of the digital age, which we are all in, is to really restore those values and modalities that have been eroded through the centralization of power. So I think what blockchain allows us to do is really decentralize that monopoly on money, which entities have had throughout history. And what that means is really allows us to recognize those other forms of capital that have always been there, but have not been currently given any value to our economical systems. For example, you can say, there's a living capital, cultural capital, natural capital, intellectual capital. Today, all of these things have been reduced to mean only financial capital by the politicians who create money and give value according to their best how they think is best. But obviously that doesn't take into account what the rest of the world or other beings sharing this planet with us define as value. So what this means is a renaissance where humanity or people who are wanting to change the world really come together and give value to those invisible exchanges that are always there, but have been kind of neglected through this centralization of power.
So on your point, and maybe I would like to hear Gustavo's opinion on this. It seems around here that we are kind of ready for the next step. So what would be the barriers? What prevents this from happening, from really reinventing money and having the new model? Why is this being like kind of slow, or what are the barriers that are preventing this from being like the new rules of society?
In my view, the main barrier that we all have is fear. Fear to success, fear to be free, fear to take responsibilities on our own economies and our own collective awareness. Okay, as Alex said before, we are in a period comparable to Renaissance or the Enlightenment. Okay, which means that a lot of things need to change. We need to abandon the status quo. We need to abandon a lot of attachments. We need to abandon a lot of things that so far have been working well for some. So far have been working really, really good for few people, but also really bad for the majority of humans in this planet. If we take the courage to do things differently, to just be aware of our own realities, our own collective realities, and see the economic interactions around us, and see and evaluate how we will be independent from traditional economies that are ruled by who knows where, but it's totally not considering me, my family, or my collective, or all. Okay, so that barrier of believing that we can do better, that we can do different, okay, is huge. There's a huge cultural barrier in front of us that, at least from my point of view, is the barrier that I'm with my big hammer trying to take down. And I can tell you it's very difficult. But we're doing, and it's not achievable in one journey or two. Maybe we're talking about a lifetime. I don't know. But I think it's worth the effort to tackle and take down the barrier. And I'm very excited that I'm not the only one. And I find myself in this ecosystem with people as amazing as you guys, people as amazing in other ecosystem, in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in Tesos, even in Eros. You can see people that are working on community currency and stuff like that. And there are seeds. There are seeds everywhere, and we are talking about awareness seeds that we need to nurture, that we need to grow up, and we need to believe and keep on it, and don't abandon, even if the path seems difficult.
Great, thank you. So to summarize, fear would be like the greatest barrier. I would like to know Alejandro's point of view. Is fear is the actual barrier? And I would also like Manel to join the stage after Alejandro can tell us if fear is a barrier or he feels that there is some other barrier. Then you can please join stage, turn your camera on, and you can ask the question. So Manel, join stage, and Alejandro, what do you think about the barrier?
Yeah, I think fear is one of them. Also, a lot of people feel comfortable that they don't have to be an active citizen, right? So we expect that we pay taxes and the government will solve all the problems. So we don't care whatever we do. So we pay taxes, right? And then what's happening is that it's not working. So when I was doing fee economy. I read a lot of different economic thinkers, and Keynes said in 1930, in an essay about the future of our grandchildren, he said something very interesting, that in 100 years, for 2030, we are going to resolve all the basic needs for humanity, but then it will appear another problem. So it's basically the fear, what we are going to do with our life, right? So I think we lost something in the middle. We already solved all the basic needs, and we saw that during the pandemic. With only 15-20% of the economy, we can fulfill all the basic needs, but the problem is on distribution, right? So I think we have this problem now on the distribution, and also that we are really doing things in the market no sense. We are producing products and services that are not urgent and that are hurting our environment. So I think the challenge is there, that we make all the citizens active and we start doing and fulfilling the purposes that really solve our great challenges, and not, sitting at our home very comfortably. We need to take action. So I think we need to do that. Stop fear, and also be aware that we can really change the things, and we have that opportunity with all this great technology and thinkers like Seth Cruz around the world. Yeah.
Thank you. Manel, can you join stage? Unmute yourself at least.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say that, I'm a bit late of the meeting, but in this thing of money, I think that, there are some subjects that make the implementation of this new technology is difficult, no? Like fear or division or even scams that are around and people fear, no, as well. But I just wanted to share with you guys, because I've been working on something lately, on a crypto gateway called Now Payment, and well, the idea for me it's pretty cool, because I'm trying for them to introduce æternity token in their gateway, no? And it's pretty cool, because for me one of the reasons I think that cryptos are not being used nowadays, it's education problem, the scalability problems, but as well it's volatility. When you talk to a merchant, a lot of times the merchant, what they say is like, yeah man, sounds really good, you think of decentralization, but I don't want to deal with the volatility of cryptocurrencies. I run a business, and I cannot be saying to my workers or my clients like, yeah, now the menu it's $10, and now the day after it's $13, no, in exchange of whatever cryptocurrency they accept. And these guys from New Payments, that next week they are going to introduce æternity in their platform probably. They find a way in which the merchant can, the cryptocurrency that they accept as a form of payment to euros or dollars or any stable coin. And I think it's a pretty cool idea, no? Like, we are not going to pass from a completely centralized system, economic system, to a completely decentralized whatever system in just a short time. It's going to be something that needs to be made in a gradual way, like little by little. And this idea, I find it pretty cool, and they just charge like a 0.5% fee. What do you think, guys? Because I really want to close this deal. They already have a lot of merchants all over the world where well, as soon as they implement æternity in their platform, you're gonna be able to pay in æternity tokens. Any idea, like Alex?
I mean, I guess whatever solution that makes easy for merchants to avoid the perceived risks is good, and it would be like awesome. Keep on trying to pay there. It's gonna be wonderful that people can accept the tokens in their shops or whatever, and just decide if they want to keep them or just make a settlement directly to a stable coin or even fiat. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a good way. And well, just to introduce what you were talking about before, what is like making the adoption of cryptocurrencies and new decentralized systems difficult. I just wanted to say that we are on the right way. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, it's still a very young technology. Things are going well, and it's just, for me, it's just a matter of time, and this idea that we are not going to switch from one system to another one like that fast, it takes time, just that.
Yeah, understood. Okay, guys, so we are unfortunately out of time. We have to move to the next panel, but I want to thank you all very much. It has been a really interesting exchange of ideas. Just sometimes we all think this is the way, and here we could see different views, different projects, and different ways of spreading the word and being game changers, right? So thank you very much, all the audience. You can tip this amazing speakers on superhero or any other content that you find interesting. So please go there, try it. It's really something revolutionary. So that's your call to action, right? We speak a lot about changing. Well, here's a platform that is ready to be used to change the way we do things. The money to go directly to the content creators without any intermediaries. So explore it and make it yours. And Alex, can you introduce our next topic?
Yeah, also a little update. You saw that you can start by making a journal, your opinion about the failure of the political and economical system. The poll is already in Superhero. It happened that there was a special character in the description that was not liked a lot, so that's why the poll couldn't be created. But now it's online, so please jump in and give us and make a journal, your opinion about the current political and economical system being a failure for humanity.